Hello everyone, I'm Princy Sharma and I'm thrilled to welcome you to our very first online English class. Now students, this is not just another English class, it's the beginning of our journey to score 95 or 95 or beyond 95. Together we'll master the concepts. Now in our first class, as if you have seen that introductory class, what was our target? Our target was to score 95 or even above 95. So in this, our first class, today we are going to start with the lesson. So I hope you all are ready for your journey to score 95 or even beyond it. So let's start. Okay, so students, get your notebooks ready and stay curious and participate with full enthusiasm. Let's turn learning into success. Now let's begin with the last lesson by Alfonso taught it. Now in today's class, we are doing the last lesson. Yesterday, if you have seen the video, in that we discussed the entire syllabus and you were having below literature section, you were having two books, that is Flamingo and Vistas. Now, in today's class, we are doing a chapter from your book, from the book Flamingo. And this is a chapter from the book Flamingo, that is the last lesson. So, I told you that, do you remember yesterday what promise we had made that this time, we are not going to just study to pass the examination, but yes, we are going to study English to understand it, to enjoy it. So I hope you all are ready and you all are there with me to enjoy it. So see what is out there in this chapter, the last lesson. Yesterday I told you that systematically we'll be doing the chapters. So here I am there with the same approach. Theme: the importance of one's mother tongue, patriotism, and the value of education. So students, come on. When you are hearing the name of the chapter, the last lesson, what thoughts are coming in your mind? That maybe this lesson is going to be the last one. Like whenever you are reading any chapter, just give 1-2 minutes thinking about the name of the chapter. You know what is like the name of the chapter contains the entire message. Similarly, the last lesson. In this lesson, you are going to get the importance of one's mother tongue. How important one's mother tongue is there. And a feeling of patriotism, true feeling. And obviously, the value of education. So let's start. Now, as I told you in yesterday's class that before starting any chapter, we'll be discussing about the author. Why we are going to study about the author? So that we can get the idea that why the author has written this particular chapter. What is the true essence which author has given to the chapter? Like in today's class, we are doing the chapter, the last lesson. Now students, let's see about the author. Now, the author of the chapter, the last lesson is Alphonse Daudet. Now, we are going to gather some information about him. So, let's see it. He was born on 13th of May, 1840 in Nimes, France. He died, he is no more. He died on 16th December, 1897. Nationality, French. Occupation, now, he had keen interest in writing. He was a novelist, short story writer, and playwright. Now, literary style. English is all about, expressions. It is very thoughtful. So, the literary style which Alphonse used was realism. Realism, and he was known for depicting everyday life emotions, day-to-day life emotions, and obviously patriotism. So this is a small information which we gathered about the author. As we are reading the chapter, so we need to, know something related to the author. Now, let's come onto the topic, that is the last lesson. Alphonse Daudet, who was born 1840, died 1897. He was a famous French novelist and short story writer. He is best known for the last lesson, best known for the chapter which you are doing in today's class. The chapter from Flamingo, the last lesson. Now, what is known for this lesson? See, this lesson highlights the importance of one's mother tongue, patriotism, and love for one's country. Now, let's see further. Now, before we start out this chapter, I want to give you a task. Let's crack an icebreaker. Imagine this is the last day you can ever study or speak your mother tongue. That this is the last day. After this last day, you won't be able to speak your mother tongue. What is your mother tongue? Different, languages you must be having, but I'm specially talking about your mother tongue. Imagine that this day is the last day. After this day, you won't be allowed to speak it. So how are you going to feel, students? What kind of emotions, what kind of, it would be like eruption of emotions in your mind. So what kind of emotions you are having right now when I said that? Imagine that today is the last day. And after this day, you won't be allowed to speak your mother language. So how you'll be feeling? Mother tongue. Mother tongue is the language in which, students, everybody is deeply connected. It is connected through one's soul. So how you'll be feeling? Obviously, heartbroken, emotional, devastated, helpless, regretful. I hope same thoughts came in your mind when I said this, that just assume that this is going to be your last day. Same thoughts must have come in your mind. Now, why I gave you this icebreaker? This is related to your chapter, that is the last lesson. See, in today's class, we are going to read the story of a little boy, France. We are going to read the story of a boy whose name is France, who experiences exactly this situation which I gave you. I gave you the situation that imagine today is the very last day. Today is the last day. After this day, you won't be allowed to speak your mother tongue. So how you felt? Same situation one boy was having, and his name was France. His name was France, and he had the same situation which I gave to you. So let's discover why this lesson became the last lesson. What was the mystery that this lesson became the last lesson of his life? So let's see further. Now, as we are starting the chapter, we'll be following, previously also I told you that we'll be following a roadmap to it. We are not going to directly bump into the chapter. We are going to understand it. Because, when you are going to understand it in a proper manner, strategical manner, you'll understand it, you'll enjoy it, and you'll love it. You'll love the learning. So, let's see the background behind the last lesson. So, background of the last lesson. This story, the story about which we are going to discuss in today's class, it's set during the Franco-Prussian War, which was held in 1870 to 71. Now, this chapter was around the situation of the war, and that war was between Franco-Prussian War, like Frank and Prussian War it was, and France was defeated by Prussia. In this war, the conclusion was that France was defeated by Prussia, and after that, the districts of Alsace and Lorraine where this boy, France was living, they came under Prussian control. See, obviously there was a war, and gradually the result of the war was France was defeated. And out of that, the outcome was that the districts of Alsace and Lorraine, they came under Prussian control. And after this, what happened, students? An order was issued. What order was? Obviously, like France was defeated. So now new government was there. New control was there. So an order was issued out there that only German would be taught in schools. A kind of order, that was very drastic. And that order was that only German would be taught in schools instead of French. Now replacing was there of German, French. Like only German will be taught and no French will be there. Just think about the situation of those people who were there. They must have, how those people must have felt. Obviously, something like that, their mother tongue. It was, it was the just end to it. And how one is connected to mother tongue. So that feeling was, we can't even imagine. This was the last day of teaching French. And that day, about this, that day was the last day of teaching French, making it an emotional and unforgettable lesson. Just imagine, obviously, the control was over there. So that was the last day of teaching French. And a lot of changes were there. And the saddest part was there that was the last day of, having a lesson of their mother tongue. Now let's move further. Yeah. One second. Now let's move further. Now, let's move towards the character, the main character, protagonist. Who is the protagonist? The little boy. The little boy. He's the protagonist. Now what happens that he's a young school boy. He's a young school boy from Alsace. One second, give me a second. Okay, well, let's see. France. Who is the protagonist? What happens that he's a young boy from Alsace, who is the narrator of the story. Who is he? He is the narrator of the story. Now, if I discuss about him, he's careless and he's often reluctant to study. He doesn't like to study and he doesn't want to go to school. Especially, he doesn't want to study the language that is French. He loves playing outdoors more than attending school. Like he was not at all connected with the school. He disliked school and he disliked studying French. Initially fears 𝐻𝐸, who is his teacher, because he is unprepared for the lesson. Now he is scared of the teacher. 𝐻𝐸 is his teacher. And now he is scared of the teacher because he has not prepared for the lesson. Gradually, he realizes the importance of education. Now, all of a sudden, once he used to dislike French, he disliked going to school, and all of a sudden, there's a transformation. What is that transformation? That gradually he realizes the importance of education, importance of one's mother tongue, and true spirit of patriotism. Now, what is presented over there, like you have understood that the main protagonist, the character is France, but in this story you will be understanding, students, that you'll be experiencing the transformation. This character which is, which is the protagonist, what you are going to find that it is representing the transformation from ignorance to awareness. When we are having something in abundance, what we are doing, we are taking disadvantage of that. But once it's, about to come to an end, then all of a sudden we realize the importance of that particular thing. So here, what we are going to witness, the transformation from ignorance to awareness. France symbolizes every student. Now, it's not the story of France, but it's the story of each and every student. How it's related to each and every student? It's related to each and every student who is realizing the value of learning only when it is about to be lost. Why he is realizing when it's just about to get lost? He should have valued before also. So this is what we are going to see in the story. Now, obviously, character, France, the protagonist, you must have got the idea of the character. Now, let's move further. Okay, now another character, student. You can just remember student, that is France, teacher, 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿. Now see, 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿 is a French teacher of Alsace. He has taught for 40 years. 40 years, just imagine somebody is following a profession for 40 years. Dedicated, disciplined and patriotic. See, obviously teachers, they contribute a lot to society. How? Because they are the developers of all the other professions. So how that teacher must be, feeling when it was the last lesson of that particular language. So this is what, that feeling we are going to witness, or that feeling we are going to feel through this chapter. He delivers the last lesson, that is last French lesson, with dignity. Lot of respect he is having towards that. Inspired love for the mother tongue. How much immense love that teacher is having towards his mother tongue. What is symbolism over there? He is symbolizing patriotism, education, cultural identity. Now, if why we are discussing much about the character, it's very important for it's very important from the both perspective. That's why we are discussing. Now, if I go towards the key trait, what it is, a devoted teacher who values language. Why that teacher is valuing the language? As that teacher is understanding that it is the soul of a nation. So I hope you have understood both the characters, 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿 and who is the protagonist. Now let's move further. Next. Now, as we have understood theme, little bit theme we had discussed that it's all about patriotism. Now let's see summary and let's understand it. Now, there was a young boy. And obviously you are knowing the name of a boy, that a young boy is reluctant. He is reluctant to study, to go to school, as he has not prepared his French lesson. Like, we are having some, every student dislikes some or the other subject. So, you are having, test of particular that subject and you are not willing to go to school. So, it's a kind of that situation, always link it, just try to live that situation. You'll get the more understanding towards that thing. So, friends, a young boy is reluctant to go to school as he has not prepared his last lesson. He notices an unusual silence at school. Apart from other days, now something is different. Because why? Something is different because that is the result of that war which was held. And what is that unusual thing? That there is complete silence at school, and he learns that it is 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿's last French class. Now, he's already disliking French, and all of a sudden he gets to know that this is 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿's last French class. So what do you think? Like, for once, like when he heard this, he must be happy now. Obviously, he must be happy because he used to dislike that subject, and not only that subject, he used to dislike going to school. Now, let's see what happens further. The order from Berlin declares that there was an order which was from Berlin that only German will be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. There was an order which was stating that only German will be taught in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. Now let's move further. See how curiosity it generates when you are living that story. So, regrets not valuing his education. Now all of a sudden there's a transformation. All of a sudden what happens that there's a kind of a transformation in France. That he regrets that he is not valuing his education and mother tongue. As it was 𝐊𝐲𝐻𝐃's last lesson class, because of that order, within friction of seconds, or you can say after that some point, he starts realizing what he was actually losing. So France regrets not valuing his education and mother tongue. And 𝐊𝐻𝐃 delivers an emotional farewell lesson. That was the last lesson, because after that no French lessons will be given in that particular area. So even the teacher was delivering an emotional farewell lesson, and just imagine how remarkable that lesson must be, emphasizing the importance of language. And here the teacher who was teaching this language since 40 years, now he is giving an emotional farewell lesson. Now he is emphasizing, he is focusing, he is telling the importance of this language. He is unable to speak further. Like, it's very emotional. All of a sudden, let me tell that if some order comes and all of a suddenly it's declared that this language is banned and it can't be taught further. So how that teacher must be undergoing who has taught that language since 40 years. So he was not able to speak further. It was his last lesson. He wrote, "Vive la France," which means long live France. Do you understand what does it mean? That how much he was connected to his mother tongue. So he wrote "Long live France" on the blackboard, ending the lesson with dignity and patriotism. So he wrote this "Long live France" on the board, and see how much connectivity he was having. By this, this is very important, like from the board perspective, you need to remember this. And then what it states that how much it's showing us the true essence of patriotism. Now let's move further. Now we have read the summary. Now students, if you remember in previous class, like if you remember in the introductory class, I gave you an example of student A, student B. Student A wrote, "𝐿𝐻𝐃 had faith in God." Student B wrote, "𝐿𝐻𝐃 had unfavorable and unshakable faith in God." So obviously, student B's answer was, had conceptual understanding of NCERT. Similarly, in this, we are having specially designed series for you. In this, we are following a particular roadmap. So we have discussed summary, but let me tell you, reading NCERT, understanding line-to-line explanation, that is equally important. So that we'll be doing in further class. Let's leave something, you should have something to think beyond. You should be curious about the story. So this was the summary, but yeah, there were you can say there were small incidents which must have happened in between, that we'll be discussing when we'll be doing NCERT line to line explanation, and believe me, that is equally important because both demands conceptual understanding of NCERT. Now let's see major themes of the last lesson. Little bit I depicted, like I just gave you the summary. It's a complete vast chapter. So let's see what are the major themes of the last lesson. Linguistic identity. Major theme is one's linguistic identity, students. Language defines a nation's culture and identity. What, how important one's language is for oneself. That is truly depicted through this chapter. So one of the major themes is linguistic identity. Now, let's move further. Patriotism. Now, why I'm telling you themes so that you can use such themes in your answers. Now, as you are in class 12, you are much upgraded, so answer doesn't come directly from the text. It's coming in, you can say, in a very different manner. You can say it's coming in the form of hot, and some questions, they are interlinked to some another chapters. So that way you need to have an understanding. So see, patriotism, love and devotion towards one's homeland. Education, knowledge is often appreciated only when it is lost. This is the saddest part, if I can say, is that knowledge is often appreciated when it's not there, when it is lost. Regret and self-realization. How it's connected with this chapter? Just give a thought to it. France, who was, was reluctant to go to school, who disliked the friends, but when it was the last day, he eventually, what transformation we witnessed through this chapter. So that theme is over here, that is regret and self-realization. Awareness comes too late for France and the villagers. Not only France, but yeah, the villagers. That awareness which they should have, which they should have for their mother tongue, that was somewhere lost, but it came quite later. Freedom and cultural heritage. If I say about freedom and cultural heritage, a language preserves a nation's history, traditions and dignity. What happens if I talk about the major theme, that is freedom and cultural heritage? What is out there, students, in this? That a language is preserved for a nation's history, the traditions, means it is having deep connections. It is having deep connection directly to the roots of the country. A nation's language is the guardian of its identity. It's just like the guardian of its identity, culture, and freedom. So these were the major themes of the last lesson, and they're really important. You should note down. I told you that just get ready with the notebooks, note down the keywords, note down the themes, and believe me, they are going to prove useful for you. So the themes were linguistic identity, patriotism, value of education, regret and self-realization, freedom and cultural heritage. Now let's move further. Now, literary devices, the emotional part, how that chapter is becoming impactful. There are certain literary devices which are there in this chapter, and that makes our class out of the box from other different classes. Now, in this class, we are going to study about the literary devices in the last lesson, which is going to give essence to your answer writing. And that will gradually help you to score 95 or beyond 95. So let's see the literary devices which are there in the last lesson. First, let's refer to symbolism. Symbolism, it represents a deeper meaning. Symbolization is there. It tells us about the meaning in depth. Example, now here I mentioned example also. See, relate with the last lesson. The last lesson symbolizes the loss of freedom. We are studying literary devices. Literary devices, they are giving expressions to what it is, why it's there in the last lesson. Students, it's there in the last lesson because it is symbolizing the loss of freedom and the loss of one's mother tongue. That is the loss of the French language. So this is symbolism which is over there. Next, irony. What is irony? Reality is different from expectation. Expectation, they are not same as, as the reality is over there. So let's see what is irony over here. Example, France values French only when it is about to be taken away. When it's about to get lost, at that time, all of a sudden, somebody starts realizing the importance. That is irony. Now see how much, depth it's giving to this. So irony is obviously France, gradually he realized that French was, how important French was, how important one's mother tongue is, but when it is about to be taken away, at that point he realized. Now, foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is also important, a hint of future events. Foreshadowing, I hope, I don't think you must have heard before, but yeah, this will also help you. Foreshadowing, what it is a hint of future events. Now let's see, according to your chapter, like how it's there in your chapter. Example, the crowd at the bulletin board. Now, why? This is the, exact line from your NCERT. That's why I was saying that reading chapter from NCERT and its explanation is equally important. And that is what we are going to do it in this class, in this series, and that will gradually help you to achieve your target. So let's see the example. Foreshadowing, it is a hint of future events. Example, the crowd at the bulletin board. What it gives? It gives the hint that something important has happened. It's giving us hint related to future event. Now imagery. If I say that, just imagine that this is going to be the last day of your, last lesson of your mother tongue. So what you are doing? You are giving, directions to your brain to imagine that thing. You are imagining that situation. That is imagery. It creates vivid mental pictures. You are, visualizing that particular situation. Example, the description of the silent classroom. Everybody was silent, like 𝐿𝐻𝐃 in his special clothes creates a clear visual image. This is the exact line from the NCERT. Once we'll be reading NCERT, you'll be getting idea of that. So I hope you have got all the literary devices which are very important in the last lesson. See, symbolism, irony, foreshadowing, imagery. Let's move further. Now, very important thing, that is the exam alert. Now, the thing which makes our class extra special is that along with the class, we are giving you idea related to your board examination. Like you're not, eventually waiting for the last time. Along with the preparation, you are getting idea. Every chapter, you'll be getting extra tip, board exam alert. So let's see what alert has to speak about. Let's see. CBSE usually asks questions on. We are doing a chapter. Now we are going to cover the aspects from where CBSE is asking questions. You are going to get the idea. You are going to get the picture what CBSE actually wants from you. What kind of learning, what kind of understanding you need to give to each lesson. So let's see. CBSE usually asks questions on character sketch. Like there were two characters, that is France and 𝐿𝐻𝐃, the teacher and the student. Obviously, you need to focus on the characters. Characters are very important. Now, themes. I told you that I discussed major themes. Why I discuss themes? Because it's not about understanding the stories. Now, see, there are certain things which I ask you to avoid. Don't just start reading the refreshers. Don't just, bump into reading the summaries. They're not going to help you because you need to get conceptual understanding, which you are going to get in this special series. So let's see. Themes which are discussed in this lesson are patriotism, mother tongue, and value of education. Like we had discussed, literary devices also, they were equally important. Symbolism of the last lesson. And important incidents. Not only important incidents, but along with incidents, their significance. Now, what sort of questions? Now, idea which you are getting related to the questions, that is also mentioned over there. Now, what sort of questions CBSE can ask you from this chapter, the last lesson? How wonderful it is. Everything you are getting, in one series only. The explanation, the themes, the story, everything. And one important thing, one special, not, I can't say it's special, but one extra special thing is that along with the chapter, you'll be getting one PYQ so that you develop understanding in that manner. So let's see what sort of questions CBSE will ask. Extract-based question, 3-4 times they have like, if we are following the trends of CBSE board patterns, usually it comes in the form of extract-based question, thoughts, high-order thinking skills, which are based on values and real-life situation. Now, how you will get the idea of thoughts and real-life situations? Like, see, thoughts are based on real-life situations. So, just by reading the chapter, you are not going to get the answer. You are not going to get the clear picture how to write the answer of thoughts. But if you are going to follow it in a correct manner, you'll get the idea. Example. Now, the important tip. Focus on character traits. Now, don't worry about character traits. We have done in this video. We have discussed about ML. How can you forget the protagonist? We have done about that. Themes. We have discussed themes in a very detailed manner. Textual evidence while preparing this chapter. So obviously, while preparing this chapter, we need to read NCRTs. NCRTs are very, very important. Again and again, I'm telling you, don't just avoid. Now let's move further. Now, this is a question that is, this is the previous year question. Now let's see the question now. You got the idea of the chapter. You must have understood the chapter. So let's see the question. Children is the responsibility of society. You were having story of the last lesson, but nowhere you were having, something related to the education. Now, I hope the picture is clear in your mind that what CBSE actually demands from you. Educating children is the responsibility of society. Justify the statement with reference to the last lesson. Such kind of questions are asked in your CBSE English board examination. See, everything we are getting in this series, how wonderful it is. So, once again, see, so wonderful it is. Now, answer also I have attached to it, but first I would like that you solve that answer by yourself. Then by that, solving, you'll be able to understand that what kind of conceptual understanding you have got through this chapter. So, just practice this question, that is, educating children is the responsibility of society. Very well you can justify. We have discussed in a, it's such a depth. And if you want, I can just read this for you. What sorts of answers CBSE expects from you? See, Education plays a vital role in shaping the future of a nation. Therefore, educating children is a collective responsibility of society. You need to give such kind of start to your answer. See how worth reading it is. In the last lesson, now with reference, we need to do justification. So with reference, the Prussians understood. What Prussians understood? That incident we are linking in this answer. Now, we are connecting this to Prussian, that they understood this well. And that situation you can explain. So I hope you have got the clear picture what CBSE wants from you or expects from you. Let's move further. Do practice. This is your practice question as well. And once you are done with the writing of the question, you can see the answer which I have attached with the question. Now, key takeaways. Every chapter is having gist. Whether it's a poem or whether it's a chapter, every poem or chapter, it's having a gist. These are also equally important. Value your mother tongue. Never take your education for granted. You should, appreciate it and you should value it. Language preserves culture and one's identity. Realize the value of opportunities before they are lost. You should, realize the worth. True patriotism begins with respecting one's language and heritage. The greatest lesson is to value what we have before we lose it. So I hope you have got the takeaways, or in easy language I can say this is a sort of moral values which we have learned through the chapter, the last lesson. Though it was last lesson, but it taught us the values which are going to, long-lasting values it gave to us and even to France as well. So, through this chapter, what you have learned? Various things you must have learned, but yeah, let's come on to the point. Now, what do you feel? Are you near to your target that to score 95 or even beyond it? See, whenever you are targeting something, you need to follow the correct strategy. You need to follow the correct roadmap. So, the way we did this class, that was very important because we had followed up. We started from about the author. We started since roots. If you have seen yesterday's video, our introductory video, what was there? That if you want to build a house, you need to lay the foundation strong. So we started with the author to the ending. Everything we covered except one thing we left, that we'll be covering NCERT, we'll be covering line-to-line explanation of that, so that nothing will be there, which you need to worry about. So I hope everything you have got in this class. So, a language is the soul of a nation and education is its greatest strength. This quote you can even include in your answer also. So, I hope you have got what was there in this chapter. So, I hope everything which we did, themes and all, you must have note down in your notebook. And this is the pattern which you need to follow. About the author, themes, expressions which is there in the form of literary devices, summary, characters, if there's any protagonist, gist, important events, phrases. This is how we are going to, enjoy the beautiful language English. So I hope you have got everything in this chapter. So I, Princy Sharma, your mentor, take your leave. See you in your next class. Till then, do the task which is assigned to you. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.